Hey friends, I'm Lexi and welcome back to my channel, Galaxy Within. I'm an artist and creator from Australia, travelling and living full-time with my partner Mighty and our baby bird Biddy in our self-converted campervan that we call Arcadia. Today's video is a new bullet journal plan with me for the month of June 2021. So grab your journal and some earthy-toned pens and join me in creating this toasty layout, or sit back with a hot choccy and enjoy the time lapse. In Australia, June is the first month of winter, and in the sunny Queensland, which is where I'm from, it doesn't snow and only gets a little bit chilly here. So Aussie winter vibes for me are all about snuggling up by the fire in your comfy, cozy clothes with a hot choccy in one hand and a great book in the other, which happens to be the exact vibe that inspired my June layout. Back in May, we were van lifing in a city called Newcastle in New South Wales, which is a few hours south of Queensland and one of our fave places in New South Wales. While in Newey, we went to a pub called the Family Hotel at least once a week for trivia nights and to eat arguably the best vegan burgers in Australia. When the night started getting cooler, the pub would stoke up their fireplace, and that fireplace in particular was the inspo for my cover page. It had heaps of different shaped and sized candles all along the mantle, with the wax pulled all around them and drips all down the edges. I hadn't seen a fireplace decorated like that before, and it really gave off such an untamed, antique kind of vibe that was visually beautiful and also very inviting. So shout out to the Family Hotel. If you're ever in Newcastle, this place is definitely worth a visit. So I started the cover page off by outlining the fireplace with my fine tip black pen before colouring in the grouting in between all the stones with my Crayola grey pen. The stones and the grouting were probably the most time-consuming part of this whole layout. But after I had outlined and coloured it all in, it was well worth the time and effort it took, and hopefully you'll agree. Before starting this layout, I did a little stationery shop and gifted myself some new Tombow water-based pens, which I was so excited to use. I've put the exact colours I've used throughout the layout in my description, so check it out if you'd like to add these beautiful pens to your collection. I coloured in the fireplace stones with 3 different shades of brown. 2 were my new Tombow pens and the darkest shade is my Crayola. I didn't follow any particular pattern when colouring the stones in, but I did try to space the colours out somewhat evenly so that there wasn't too much of one colour cramped in together. It's so fun watching the stones being coloured and seeing the fireplace come to life. In my future tiny home, I definitely visualise my fireplace to be made of stones just like this one. Or even one of those cute little metal fireplaces with the pebblestone look on the floor and up the wall all around it. How about you guys? What's your dream fireplace look like? Or am I the only one that thinks of these things? After colouring in the stones, I then used my Crayola pen to colour the floor in front of the fire and the 2 mantles. To be honest, I didn't like the colour choice I used for these, as I felt like they darkened the whole fireplace just a bit too much. And in hindsight, I thought a marble stone look would have worked a lot better. What do you guys think? Next, I coloured in the June heading with my Tombow pens. The front in beige and the shadow in a mustard. I drew the heading to resemble those wooden word ornaments that people place in their homes. You know, the ones that say things like love or even home. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I then coloured in the fireplace accessories before colouring in the fire itself with my Crayola pens. The fire is looking so toasty. Anyone bring any marshmallows or what? After the fire was roaring, I coloured in the flames on all the candles, and then went around all the flames with my orange Crayola and my white paint pen to create a glowing effect and help them stand out just a little bit more. On the following page, I outlined the June calendar and the events box with my fine tip black pen before using my beige Tombow to scribble in the background for the day and events heading. I used that same black pen to write in the headings in a cursive script and then drew and coloured in some cute wintry doodles to fill in the empty space. I numbered the calendar, outlined the events heading, and then added a drop shadow to complete this page. The next 2 pages in my June layout are my habit tracker and my mood tracker. These pages are always my fave ones to design. I decided to set the trackers out horizontally over the 2 pages, with the habit tracker along the top and the mood tracker along the bottom. I drew 6 large winter-inspired doodles that had enough space inside them to fit a 7x5 calendar and labelled each one with a different icon that represents what habits I'll be tracking, before adding a splash of colour to each doodle and then outlining the heading with my mustard Tombow pen. In my May layout, I decided to draw a bunch of small skateboard doodles for my mood tracker, and I really loved how that turned out and looked forward to colouring it in every day. So I decided to do the same thing for this month's mood tracker, but with little drawings of candles, scarves, campfires, gloves, hot choccy, and beanies instead. I numbered each winter doodle from 1 to 30 for each day of the month, and then I put a key in the top right hand corner and drew 5 different colours to represent 5 different moods that I'll be tracking. The next page in my Bujo setup is my June to-dos page. Using my black fine tip pen, I drew 3 scarves hanging down from the top of the page and labelled each scarf with a different category: personal, work, and van life. I then coloured in the scarves with an Argyle-inspired pattern, leaving plenty of room above to write in my lists. I then finished the page off by writing the heading underneath the scarves. Opposite my June to-dos page, I wrote a quote of my own that was inspired by the theme of this month's wintry layout. I combined a few different styles of lettering and a variety of my pens to create a word collage for this toasty quote page. I also added in some of the winter doodles that are running throughout my layout to give the words just a bit more character. And I really like how I made the banner into a scarf. It's just so cute! I honestly don't know how I've been drawing all my previous layouts without these Tombow pens. They are just so amazing. So the quote reads, "Winter is for hot choccy, cozy clothes, campfires, good books, and long hugs." Now we're up to my last spread for June's layout, the weekly. You may have noticed that last month's Bujo layout had heaps more spreads than June's. I decided to scrap those as I just wasn't using them and kept this month's layout super simple. Since the first day of June was a Tuesday, I only had to set up 5 days for this first weekly. So I drew 6 rectangle boxes with my fine tip black pen over 2 pages. The first box for my main tasks and the following boxes for my dailies. Each box has its own wintry doodle, and in the middle of each one I put the date. I then coloured them all in using a mix of my Tombow and Crayola pens. It was really fun drawing in the patterns for the scarf, beanie and glove, as I'm a real sucker when it comes to those crosshatch, diamond, Argyle style patterns. And I would definitely wear these in real life. I finished the weekly spread off by adding in a drop shadow to all the boxes with my dark brown Tombow pen. And that's another layout done. Here's a flip through of my bullet journal setup for June 2021. These cozy winter vibes have me reaching for a hot choccy and my latest novel. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts on my June layout in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Much love, Lexi.